Well, Robert, thanks for coming over today.
Thanks for having me.
Excited to show you a little something I've been working on.
The garden looks great.
Thank you. Thank you.
What are we doing today?
Well, today we're gonna pickle some peppers. So I'm excited for this batch though, because here we have some red jalapeno peppers, which just means they've been on the bush a little bit longer, and they'll hopefully be a little bit sweeter to add a little sweetness to the spice.
So red means sweet?
Yeah, red just means just getting a little sweeter. It gets a little sweeter with time, just like us. So we're looking for about 30. There's 1, 2, and 3. It'll also just add a nice mix of color to the pickling jar. You know, aesthetic. And the plant needs some relief from having all these fruits on here. The branches start to bend over. And picking these fruits will help promote new growth for the plant. So it'll keep making more fruits throughout the season. So you want to pick your peppers here. You don't want to leave them on there too long. Oh, that one's almost purple. It's transitioning from green to red. It's kind of in the middle. Now we got approximately 30 peppers, probably a little bit more. And now we're gonna move on to the next step, which is bringing them inside, chopping them up into thinly sliced little circles, and then throwing some brine on top. Go ahead, take a bite. So, for our brine, let's make a brine. 1 cup distilled white vinegar. 1 cup filtered water. Doesn't have to be filtered, but it could be. To that, we're going to add 1/3 cup of sugar. And I think it's like a ½ teaspoon of salt. You know, just kind of eyeball it. Just a little, you know, sprinkle of salt. Now, we're going to heat this up just to be able to mix all that together, stirring along the way. And this is going to be our brine. And while the brine is brining, we can go ahead and slice some jalapenos. We got a lot here, so, you know, just take your time. I like mine nice and thin, but you can make yours however you want. That's the magic of pickling jalapenos. Make them your own. The main reason this all started was because I had so many jalapenos, and this is just a great way to use a lot of them. And they're pretty hot, so this helps them last a long time, but also brings down the heat a little bit. Oh, hear the brine starting to simmer. Want to make sure we stir this along the way so the sugar's not sticking to the bottom. I use pink rock, like pink Himalayan salt, but use whatever salt you have. Sea salt, kosher salt, Epsom salt. Just kidding, don't use that. Bath salts. Slicing is, you know, kind of meditative. Just doing the same thing over and over again. Be kind of peaceful. You know, we live busy lives, there's lots to think about. But when you're slicing jalapenos, there's just one thing you're thinking about. And that's slicing these jalapenos and not cutting yourself. Eventually, as we get later in the season, I'll start saving some seeds. Almost there. There we go. The only other thing other than the brine and the jalapenos is a little bit of garlic. I like to crush it a little bit so you kind of get some of those flavors working. Ooh, not too much. You You want it to stay one clump because it's really just in there for flavor, not trying to eat it, unless you want to, because you totally can. It's a good antiviral. Recipe called for 1 clove of garlic. I like double that because I like garlic. So we'll have 2 cloves in each jar. And the garlic really just gives it a nice flavor. So next step, we'll start loading up these jars. Fill up like, I don't know, 1/3 of the jar or so. Then I'll add one of my garlics. Then I'll add some more jalapenos on top of that. Then I'll add my other garlic. Stuff it on in there. And there you go. So now we got a couple jars fully loaded here. To the brim.
To the brine.
To the brine. So our brine reached a boil. It's kind of been cooling down a little bit. And we're just gonna add it on top. Here we go. So we just want to make sure all the jalapenos are submerged in the brine. Obviously I filled these a little extra high, so we're gonna just make sure we have enough for both of them here. So got a little overzealous on the amount of jalapenos there. Really you want the brine to cover the top completely, but I'm just gonna kind of shove these down in there. The ones on the top probably won't have as much pickle flavor at the beginning, but over time, it'll be just fine. So now you don't want to stick these directly into the fridge. You want them to rest and come up to room temperature before you put them in the refrigerator. That way you're not heating up your fridge. Great on sandwiches, great on tacos, great on salads. Use them wherever you want. Put them on pizza. I don't know. Oh, that one was hot.
I'm just gonna keep rolling, see what else you come up with. Great jar, not what's in it.
Great jarb.
Great jar. Wow, beautiful.
This is what they'll look like eventually. They'll start to lose a little color, but gain a little flavor. And that's what you want. Goodbye. First person point of view, Robert.